What's going on, everybody? So if you haven't noticed on my Instagram, I haven't really been working out for the last 3 weeks, and that's because I am sidelined with an injury right now and I don't know when I will be able to work out again. So that makes reviewing shoes a little bit difficult. And I know a lot of you guys have been asking me about the Flexweave speedtrs. So rather than having you guys just wait for a performance review that I'm not sure when I'll be able to put out, I thought I would go over some of the build quality differences between this shoe, the fit, the things that I can review, and not go into any kind of detail about the performance aspect of the Flexweave TRs because I just can't work out. So I've been spending a lot of time in these shoes. I did get them after I got injured, but I have been coaching and I have been walking around in them, spending as much time in them as I possibly can. And I feel like even if I can't tell you about the actual lifting performance, I can give you a good idea on what they're gonna feel like for, your performance movements. So the build quality of these shoes is different in that they have the Flexweave upper. This Flexweave is more similar to the one found on the original Nano 8s and the Power Light mids. I want to say that this shoe is definitely not as flexible or as comfortable as the normal Speed TRs. The upper has much more structure, and personally I like that. I think that the Flexweave on this holds your foot in place a lot better than the original shoes. But if you liked that about the normal speeds, then you might not like the Flexweave models. The overall design is pretty much the exact same thing, except it has that Flexweave. It does have that heel counter at the back. The Flexweave is mainly open. You can see right through it. There's only a really thin piece of mesh that extends from about where the tongue is to the front of the shoe. It's a very, very breathable shoe, and it's comfortable in that regards, but it's definitely not as comfortable as the original ones are. The entire midsole is still that injection molded midsole. It runs from heel to toe, and then you've got the rubber outsole with the Rope Pro and the really, really good traction. I think that the traction of the Speeds has always been one of its strongest points. There's of course the rear heel clip for handstand push-ups and kind of hanging into the rower, but overall the build quality is pretty much the exact same thing. The laces are pretty nice. They're the soft rounded laces. They stay tight pretty well. The tongue is just a padded mesh tongue. It's not real thick and it doesn't really move around side to side, so I really like that about the tongue. The ankle collar does not have a ton of padding, but it still holds your heel in place very, very well, and I don't have anything to complain about that. The insole is still very light, very minimal, anatomically shaped. You can remove it if you wanted to, and then there's just a bare part to the inside. You can rock these without the insole if you really wanted to. The drop of these shoes is going to be 3 millimeters like the original ones. The weight of these shoes feels pretty similar to the original models. I don't have my scale with me right now, but it feels pretty similar. I would wager that it's 10 ounces per a men's 10. So when it comes to sizing your Flexweave Speed TRs, I'm gonna say go with your normal training shoe size or your normal speed size. If you size the original ones down, you're probably going to want to size these ones down as well because the length is the exact same thing. Now, one thing that is different as far as the fit goes between the original ones and these ones is that these ones are not as friendly for wider feet because the upper is a little bit more taut. The original ones, you could kind of get away with it because the upper was so flexible. These ones, not so much. So if you could size the original ones down, I'm going to say don't do that this time around. Just go with your normal training shoe size or your nano size. Just get your nano size with the Flexweave Speeds if you have a wider foot. If you have a more normal or narrow foot and you size the original ones down, then I'd say you'd be safe sizing these ones down as well. if you just want to play it safe, just go with your normal training shoe size. They're going to fit a little bit long, but it will be a comfortable fit. And like I said, the new upper is a little bit more taut, so it's not going to feel like you're sliding around or floating around too much inside your shoes. So like I said, the flexibility of these shoes is not as good as the original SpeedTRs, and they are not as comfortable as the original SpeedTRs. But instead of that flexibility, you get a little bit more stability and structure, which I personally prefer and I like. And I still think that these are very, very flexible shoes. Obviously, you can see that I'm flexing the heck out of them and turning them every which way, and they're just going with it. They still feel very, very agile in comparison to like Nanos or Metcons. They do not have as soft a platform as Nanos though, but it is definitely a more comfortable or a more soft shoe than the Metcons are. I actually think that the Flexweave SpeedTRs are probably going to be a better pick for plyometrics than the original ones, because the amount of structure that the new upper has, it holds your foot in place much better. So when you're getting up from things like burpees or you're rebounding your box jumps, your feet aren't really sliding around all that much. I would say that the original ones are probably going to be a little bit better for things where you're doing like a lot of bounding, like double unders, or for running. Those ones definitely, they move with your foot a little bit better because of the more flexible upper, so it's going to keep your feet a little bit more comfortable for those longer sessions or longer runs or those longer sets of double unders. So stability. Now, like I said, I can't really comment too much on this because I haven't done any kind of lifting, but I'd say the weakest point of the original SpeedTRs was the fact that the upper was a little bit too flexible for things like Olympic weightlifting. It was okay for powerlifting if you weren't shifting around too much. I wouldn't use them for like sumo deadlifts, but just like normal deadlifts and just squats, I thought the original speeds were great for, because you're not really having to worry about too much lateral movement. But for things like landing in your clean and jerk, your snatch, I would pretty much take any other shoe over the SpeedTRs, because I thought that it just did not contain your foot all that well. The new upper of the Flexweave TRs is excellent, and I think it's a huge upgrade over the normal SpeedTRs in that they just hold your foot in place a lot better. Your feet don't go sliding around all that much in these shoes in comparison to the original SpeedTRs. So personally, I like the stability of these shoes, I like the structure of these shoes, but if you are a fan of the way that the original ones were because they were a little bit softer, then you're probably not going to like these ones. So value is one thing that I thought the SpeedTRs was always really good at, because they've retailed at $100 just starting. So now the original speeds have been moved down to like $80. The Flexweave speeds are $100, and you can get the original ones on sale in like the original colorways for like as low as $35, which makes those one of the best, if not the best deal in training shoes. I'm gonna say that if you wanted a more structured shoe, you could spend the money on the Flexweave TRs. You'll probably like them, and you'll probably get that value from them, spending the $100. But if you wanted just a capable, cheap CrossFit shoe, just get the normal SpeedTRs. They're excellent. They're still one of my favorite shoes. They're not the best Olympic weightlifting shoes, but they're still pretty good. And for like 35 bucks, they're unbeatable. For 80 bucks, I'd spend the extra $20 and get these. But if you're getting those for $35, definitely go for those. If you just wanted more stability and structure in your shoe, then spend the $100 and get the Flexweave models. But you know, honestly, when it comes to spending about $100, I'd say spend the extra $30 or $10 and get some Nano 8s that might be on sale, or just some normal price Nano 8s, because I think that Nano 8s are still better than the SpeedTRs. So like I said before, this is not a performance review. I'm just kind of guessing what the performance is going to be like. I'm telling you what I think about the construction and how these feel just kind of walking around day to day. I hope to be working out pretty soon. Hopefully. But Make sure that you guys follow me on my Instagram, and I'll give you some updates for when I'll be able to work out again. If you guys have any questions about the Flexweave speedtr, feel free to leave them in the comment section. And as always, guys, please hit that like button, subscribe, and thanks for watching.